The evening rain painted silver streaks across the city's glass towers. Streetlights shimmered on the wet pavement as cars crawled through the drizzle. Inside, a sleek black limo parked near the park's entrance. 35-year-old Ethan Cole, a billionaire CEO known for his cold demeanor, sat alone with his phone on silent. His tailored suit was spotless. His watch gleamed, yet his eyes carried a weight no wealth could ease. His day had been just like any other: meetings, contracts, numbers. But the hollowness gnawed at him more than usual tonight. For years, he had poured himself into his company after losing his fiancée in a tragic accident. Since then, love had felt like a luxury he could never afford. The world called him ruthless, but the truth was he was simply tired. As he sat staring at the rain-blurred view of the city, a soft tapping on the limo's window startled him. He lowered the glass to find a little girl, no more than 7, her thin jacket soaked from the drizzle. Her big brown eyes were wide yet surprisingly steady. "Sir, can I talk to you for a minute?" she asked, her voice trembling yet filled with courage. Ethan frowned. "Where's your mom or dad? You shouldn't be out here alone." The girl looked down, clutching the straps of her small backpack. "That's what I came to talk about," she whispered. Something in her tone made him unlock the door. She stepped in carefully, leaving tiny puddles on the limo's carpet. She smelled faintly of rain and the warmth of home that Ethan had long forgotten. "What's your name?" he asked gently, noticing her shivering hands. "Leela," she replied softly, "and I have a question, but you have to promise you won't laugh." Ethan raised an eyebrow but nodded. Leela hesitated for a moment, then leaned closer and whispered words that made Ethan's guarded heart skip a beat. "You need a wife, and I need a dad." For the first time in years, Ethan was speechless. Leela's words replayed in his mind as he drove her to a nearby cafe to warm up. Over hot chocolate, she told her story. Her mother, Ava, worked double shifts as a nurse after her husband had passed away when Leela was only 3. They lived in a small apartment nearby, and tonight Leela had gone to the park after school, hopping to see the stars through the clouds, something her father used to do with her before he passed. She had seen Ethan's limo pull up and noticed the sadness in his eyes, the kind she often saw in her mother's. That's when the wild thought came to her. If she could bring a smile to this lonely stranger, maybe he could bring back the happiness her mom lost too. Ethan chuckled softly, not at her request but at her courage. Yet something about Leela's presence reminded him of what he'd been missing. He asked for her mother's number, intending to drop her home safely. Ava Carter opened the door to find her daughter standing next to a tall, intimidating man in a suit. Her protective instincts flared instantly. "Leela, you can't just talk to strangers," she scolded before turning to Ethan, suspicious. "Who are you, and why is my daughter with you?" Ethan calmly introduced himself and explained what had happened. Ava's expression softened slightly when she realized her daughter hadn't been harmed, but her guardedness remained. That night after Ethan left, Ava questioned Leela about what she'd said. When Leela repeated her words, Ava's heart ached. She held her daughter close, wishing she could give her the fatherly love she deserved. Days turned into weeks. Ethan couldn't shake off the memory of Leela's hopeful eyes. He found himself stopping by the cafe near Ava's hospital to check in on them, always with an excuse, sometimes just to drop off a meal for Leela or a coffee for Ava. At first, Ava resisted his kindness. She believed a man like him couldn't possibly fit into their simple world, but over time, she saw the sincerity in his gestures. Ethan, in return, found himself laughing again, something he hadn't done in years, especially during Leela's playful banter and innocent jokes. However, their budding connection wasn't without challenges. Ava's colleagues warned her about Ethan's reputation as a ruthless businessman who never believed in relationships. The media soon caught on, questioning why a powerful CEO was seen spending time with a single mom and her daughter. Ethan's board of directors also expressed concern, insisting that personal distractions could affect his leadership. Ethan struggled between protecting his heart and risking it for the small family that had reignited his faith in love. Ava worried about exposing Leela to heartbreak if things didn't work out. Their biggest challenge came when Ava's hospital faced a sudden crisis. Budget cuts threatened her job, and she considered moving to another city for better opportunities. Leela overheard this and felt her small world crumbling. One rainy evening, as Ethan sat once again in his limo outside their apartment, Leela climbed in silently, tears brimming in her eyes. "You promised you wouldn't leave us too," she whispered. Ethan's heart clenched at the thought of losing them. In that moment, he realized that what he truly needed wasn't another business deal or wealth. It was them. The next morning, Ethan walked into the hospital boardroom not as a CEO making a deal, but as a man fighting for the woman he loved. He offered funding to save Ava's department, not for publicity, but because he couldn't stand to see her dreams fall apart. Ava was moved but hesitant, unsure whether it was out of pity or genuine care. Ethan assured her with words that finally broke his emotional walls. "I lost someone I loved once, and I thought my heart died with her, but you and Leela showed me it's still beating. I don't just want to help you, Ava. I want to be there for both of you." Weeks later, Ethan officially proposed to Ava, not with grand gestures but in their favorite cafe where their journey had truly begun. Layla, sitting between them, clapped her little hands in delight, whispering, "Told you you needed a wife." The wedding was intimate and warm, attended by close friends and hospital staff. Ethan, once the lonely CEO in a limo, now stood as a husband and father, finally at peace. The story of Ethan, Ava, and Leela became a reminder that sometimes love finds us when we least expect it, and that kindness can heal even the deepest wounds.